So when I was in middle school, um, I I wanted to be healthier. So instead of choosing whole milk, which I had done all throughout elementary school, in middle school I decided I was going to have low-fat chocolate milk because it's low fat, right? And I thought that if it's low fat, then it would be healthier for you. So let's compare these nutrition labels. So here we have whole milk, 1% milk, fat-free milk, and chocolate low fat. So first, comparing the serving sizes, each of them is 1 cup. So check on that. Let's compare again things that are from least to most. For the one that has the most calories, which one is it? It would actually be the chocolate milk. What has the least calories? Probably be, it is fat-free milk. Put FF for short. And this is for calories. Now another question, remember last time we were talking about grains, so we were comparing carbohydrates. In dairy, you do find sugars that are naturally occurring, but you will also find fat. So fat is something, or cholesterol, because it comes from an animal. So comparing the fats, it would be 8 grams for vitamin D, but more importantly, looking at the saturated fat, because that's a lower quality kind of fat. So 5 grams compared to 1.5, compared to 1.5, compared to 0. So the one that has the least is again fat-free milk. The one that has the most is whole milk. So that's for saturated fat. However, there's a little difference in this. Because we're comparing dairies with added sugar, chocolate milk is something that you add sugar into. You also want to compare the amount of sugars that are in it. Now the sugars are going to look pretty high because sugars are naturally occurring in dairy. Lactose is a sugar, but it can be pretty telling. And it might explain why chocolate milk has the most calories, even though it has less fat than whole milk. So for the sugars, what has the least? Well, it sounds like it's a tie. It's a tie between fat-free and whole. What has the most? It would be chocolate milk. Okay, so in a sense, or using this, okay, let's say for example, my scenario is I wanted to have something that had low calorie, but I wanted something that had, oh, actually, taking a step back, milk. So milk, a lot of times people think that if you have lower fat, then it's going to have less nutrition. But the fact is that the protein is something that would also make you feel fuller for longer. It's also good for building muscles. If you have something that has high protein in a dairy product, that's a pretty good nutrient that you want to promote. Also, dairy is a good source of calcium. So looking at the amount of calcium in all of this, calcium is pretty consistent. It's at 30% of the daily value. So that means that contrary to that myth that if you have lower fat means lower nutrition, in fact, all of these have pretty much the same amount of grams of protein, and they all have pretty much the same amount of percentage of calcium, or like 300 milligrams per serving. So it seems like the good stuff that you're getting from the dairy products, or these milks in particular, is pretty constant. It's really about what are you limiting of the things that you want to limit. So for least calories, it sounds like fat-free milk gets that. For the least amount of saturated fat, it sounds like fat-free milk gets that. And the one that has the least sugar, well, fat-free and whole both um, apply to that. So it sounds like fat-free milk is the best choice. And remember, the thing that we did with the grains is that if you are normally drinking a certain kind of milk and you want to move towards a healthier choice, it doesn't mean that you have to go 100%. You can slowly go into it by, for example, doing that half and half thing. So half whole milk, half 1%, or half 1%, half fat-free, or half whole, half fat-free. Now, the thing that sometimes people bring up is that chocolate milk is a better choice than soda. Yeah, of course. If you are to have something that's not even dairy, that's just a juice or soda, chocolate milk would be better. But right now, we're just comparing different dairies. Now, the last part is, would you compare milk with Cheerios? Well, you would not, because it's comparing dairy with a grain product, and you would probably just compare between the same kind of food. So different cereals with different cereals, different dairies with different dairies.